Fox 8 takes a closer look at low bonds in New Orleans, bonds that some say put potentially dangerous people back on the street.
Yeah, others believe it makes the city safer. Natasha Rodman explores the city initiative behind the low bonds.
When a burglar fell through the roof of an occupied Airbnb and escaped, NOPD officers took it very seriously. Police say DNA from a random lighter found on the scene pointed them to 50-year-old Karsten Oliver. When police found him, Oliver started running. They chased him over a fence and eventually under a house where they had to talk him into coming out. He ended up here in magistrate court. Despite having 4 prior felony and 5 misdemeanor convictions, Commissioner Albert Thibodeau gave Oliver a $100 bond.
I think that public safety is being ignored.
The Orleans DA's office immediately stepped in to increase Oliver's bond, but it was too late. He was already out. Magistrate Judge Harry Cantrell issued a warrant for his arrest and raised the bond to $2,500. Low bonds or no bonds at all are becoming common in magistrate court, even when the defendant is accused of a serious crime. An aggravated assault suspect, his bond, $1. A home invasion arrest, the bond, $150. Distribution of cocaine suspect, a $250 bond.
Bail is being set at levels that are less than what it costs to pay for a speeding ticket.
Raphael Goenecci of the Metropolitan Crime Commission calls the low bond setting practice for suspected violent criminals a dangerous trend. The city, though, is behind the initiative. Its ultimate goal, reduce the jail population.
Money does not make us safer. It's the enemy of safe communities. It leads to disparities between people of different economic classes.
John Wool of the Vera Institute says his organization has worked alongside city leaders for years. In 2016, a national organization, the MacArthur Foundation, awarded the city a $1.5 million grant, and the initiative was born under Mayor Mitch Landrieu. Then Chief Judge Lori White issued this order to magistrate commissioners to increase the use of ROR, or free bonds for suspected criminals. Mayor LaToya Cantrell's administration says that order is still in effect.
One of the specific factors that the law enumerates is the offender's criminal history. That's how a judge can predict the future, by looking at the past.
Today, though, magistrate commissioners are using this when setting bonds. It's called a risk assessment. It's a tool paid for by the city of New Orleans to determine a person's risk level.
They actually determine when a defendant is arrested. They do the background, running of the background check to see what the criminal histories are, what risk factors he may or she may face.
The risk levels range from 1 to 5 and offer recommendations to either release the person with no bond or have a detention hearing. A judge, though, can issue a free bond to someone arrested for a violent crime. So DA Leon Canizero says they're working around that by setting very low bonds.
Unfortunately, that has been a very, very serious and a very, very bad consequence. We've seen, as you have indicated, we've seen bonds in the amount of $1.
Actually, we recommend that this nominal bail be $1. Make it really clear. You've decided this person should be released. So don't make them pay $500 or $5,000. Set it at $1. That's consistent with state law.
It is a flawed methodology. This assessment tool, I don't think, takes into consideration the risk that the offender may pose to the public.
They do a determination using the risks, the PSA.
Mayor Cantrell's criminal justice administrator, Tanisha Stevens, points out, despite the signed order, commissioners are free to do whatever they want.
The assessment, the PSA assessment, is just a tool. It is not a law. So the judges still have the discretion as to set bond, release, or do whatever they so desire based on their discretion.
Low bonds are allowing suspected criminals to bond out in a matter of days. And in some cases, a third party, known as the Freedom Fund, picks up the tab.
We've bonded out just over 200 individuals, fellow New Orleanians.
The New Orleans Freedom Fund is an organization that bonds people out of jail with donated money. The manager of the fund is attorney Joshua Cox, a member of Mayor Cantrell's administration.
What we can say is Josh Cox is a business executive that is part of, our group and was, a private citizen when we all founded the organization and works on the Freedom Fund without compensation in his private time.
Mayor Cantrell doesn't object to Cox's work with the Freedom Fund.
These third parties that are posting bail need to realize that this isn't just a civic endeavor, that some of the decisions that they make may affect people's lives, in that if some of these offenders go out and reoffend, we're not talking about losing a few dollars. People are talking about serious injury or losing their life.
When critics try and shift to the anomalies, it's important to redirect back to what the data shows, which is the vast majority of individuals do not get rearrested, and we are all safer as a result.
Freedom Fund member Jennifer Schnidman says the majority of the people the fund bonds out return for future court dates, but they refuse to share that data with Fox 8. When police arrested Daquan Ayers for distribution of marijuana and the Freedom Fund bonded him out, Ayers failed to show up in court twice. Police rearrested him after officers say he beat and robbed a tourist in the French Quarter.
They are playing a very, very dangerous game with public safety, and that is my concern.
We post bond for individuals who the judges have deemed as low risk to public safety, who are sitting in jail simply because they're too poor to get out.
Undercover detectives busted Calvin Hills after they say he sold them crack cocaine. Hills has 6 prior felony convictions, 2 misdemeanors, and 2 failures to appear. His risk level, a 3 out of 5. Commissioner Thibodeau gave him a $250 cash bond for distribution of crack cocaine.
When a drug dealer is summarily released on an insignificant bond, there's no deterrent factor in his, because it didn't cost him a penny to get out. Somebody else paid for it. And then a $200 bond, 2 years ago, that was never heard of.
The city's crime commissioner, though, insists the ultimate goal is to make the city safer.
Holding people in jail until trial does not make our city safe. However, what we have researched is that we have some of the poorest people sitting in jail because they can't make bail or bond.
Let's put our focus on preventing people from getting arrested for crimes rather than after they get arrested, let's just try to let everyone out.
Let's focus on how to support the person to be successful, not make them pay to buy their right to liberty.
Natasha Robin, Fox 8 Local First.